then from Amsterdam, they went in a truck convoy with all of the engineering. We all had to coordinate together. There was about 40-foot tractor trailers. Now, my stuff was, I sent one tractor trailer, which was nothing more. It was 40 feet long, 8 feet high, of nothing but diet soda.
Really? Diet soda?
Yes, because they didn't have diet soda in Yugoslavia. So I had to make arrangements. Now, everybody knew me as like, there was a guy named Jimmy Roberts he was working at ESPN at the time or something. And they did a story about me, and they said, the old expression, you can't take it with you? This is the guy that can have it there when you get there. I had everything. I had to procure everything. And it was incredible because Yugoslavia at that time was a socialist country, which meant, I think the politest way to describe it is they were non-aligned communists. Okay, they were not, it wasn't like walking around the streets of the Bronx. It was totally different. Their food wasn't anything like we knew. Bathrooms weren't anything like we knew. They had no idea what like a shower curtain was. None. I'm going to be very honest with you. They had really no idea what the quality of like toilet paper that we use.
Now, did you have to bring all that in too?
Yes.
Now, where would you guys stay? Were you in like a really Fleabag hotel kind of place?
Well, yes, there were a number of hotels that we found. The little village, we were in a little village, and there was a hotel complex where there was 2 hotels, and there was like 30 of us that were there for like a long time. We stayed there. Eventually, they were going to, one of the things that the government was going to do is they were going to build a press village, and they did. But it took years to do that. But prior to that, we were in this hotel where we, had an office complex within the hotel, where we would, trade caviar. We would trade like M&Ms to Russian tourists for caviar, because I'm telling you, it was logistically. Think about if I told you every single thing I ordered, your eyes would be spinning like the dog on the Little Rascals. Not only procuring that, but then getting it over there, and then it was impounded by customs because they had never seen the likes of this before, and I had to get it released from customs. I had to bring over-the-counter medicines, which was contraband in that country, because they didn't know from what Vicks 44 is. They don't know what that is, and I had a little bit of a hard time because that stuff took a long time. We rented the auditorium of a school that they took all of the seats out of, and that became my warehouse. And I had to construct. I bought this from the United States, heavy industrial shelving and things that I was going to put these things on, stack these things. It's so hard to. I called up like M&M Mars because they were the official candy of the Olympic Games, and I said, "Well, I'm from ABC, and I'm going to have 1,500 people there, and I need to give these people a touch of home." So I got 30,000 cases of like M&Ms, Snickers, Three Musketeers, all the stuff that was M&M Mars. They sent me diet soda. I went to Coke. I said, "You're the official soft drink of the games. We need diet soda." I got that. Those were the things that I could bring from here, but real food, we couldn't. We had to find good caterers that were going to have to not only cater us where we worked in a broadcast center, but people at venues. People in Yugoslavia, they don't have food like we have it. So we had to find. I'm telling you, we got a guy from Germany and they trucked it from Germany. But then we had to find a place where could he warehouse?
Yeah.
What kind of refrigeration place?
Stuff
Alex,
you
I
don't even
have to
realize.
tell you, I could go on and on and on. I used to walk around with the equivalent in my pocket in U.S. money of $100,000 in dinars. They were called dinars, but the equivalent of $100,000. Now, there were certain things that we could buy there. And let's say we wanted, like they had some fruit juices and things, but, not Del Monte or anything. But, if I would go into a store, I would always have an interpreter with me. And if they had, shelves full of things, I would say to him, buy everything. And I'm telling you,
Wow.
the politest way to describe it is it's like you're in a foreign country where you don't appreciate what you have in the United States. You have no clue, and you're in a country that doesn't have any of that, and you have to bring it all in, and you have to get it cleared by customs. You know what I mean?
That's amazing.
And then you have to do the broadcast. You know what I mean? So, do you remember Jim McKay? You know who Jim McKay is? The Wide World of Sports?
Yes.
Okay, well, Jim McKay had a very, very bad back. And he came to us and said, I can't sleep. I mean, I'm on this. So I said, don't worry about it. And we sent a guy in a truck 700 miles to a different republic where they make the furniture, where, what's her name is from? Melania is from. And we got him a mattress. And in the end of the Olympics, on the air, he said, Alan Needleman and blah, blah, blah. They even got me they pulled all the loose ends together. They even got me a comfortable mattress to sleep on. Now, that's nice for, my father who was watching at home, hearing my name said live, like that.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was
So
that's the greatest. Interesting.
I know there's a lot there. But let's move on to One Life to Live.
Oh, boy.
Now,
some of us used to call it No Life.
Were you involved with One Life to Live during the Olympics, or was this after the Olympics?
Yes, yeah, kind of at the same time. When I wasn't dedicated full time to the Olympics, I would do my things on One Life to Live, and I would always spend as much time in the studio as I could. So I had become, friendly with a lot of the actors because they would see me all the time, and when they were, they would always go outside sometimes and take their 5-minute breaks. A lot of them, so I would. Go out with them, and we would smoke cigarettes. We used to throw the football on 66th Street. And occasionally we used to throw the football, and John Lennon used to walk down 66th Street, and we used to throw a football to John Lennon and Yoko Ono. I mean, it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. But yes, I was involved. And
so, how did you first get involved into One Life to Live? What year was that?
Well, when I first came in 1971. I used to go visit them when they were in a different studio. They shared a complex with all my children. All my children was on one side of a studio, and there was another studio through a brick wall, but it was in the same building, and that was One Life to Live. And I would go over and spend a lot of time over there because there was a gentleman who was their stage manager, I remember the name of Sidney Andrews, who would come see us in the office all the time when we were doing payrolls. But he would tell us different stories about the shows. And he was also a very brilliant man. ABC News would use him because he spoke like 6 languages. So when ABC News would do things at like the UN, they would send Sid Andrews as like an interpreter. But anyway, he was a stage manager, and I always watched him and thought, maybe ultimately, maybe one day I could do something like that. So I stayed with it, of course. Even after the Olympics, summing this all, this is really jumping ahead. What happened was they took this rectangle, this little square of responsibility that we had as production coordinators, and then they were going to merge departments. That was when, the networks wanted to start, cutting corners and alleviating and doing that kind of stuff. So what they did is they took the production coordinator job and increased it to a production manager job, where not only was I responsible for the production services, but then I had to be responsible for the engineerings. Like production coordinators always worked hand in hand with what they called unit managers. And unit managers did all of the technical stuff. Well, they merged that. So I then became a unit manager, production manager. And although I really didn't like it that much, I still was a key person that they relied upon. And the executive producer at the time was a woman by the name of Linda Gottlieb. Linda Gottlieb was also the executive producer of a movie that you've heard of called Dirty Dancing.
Wow.
And she was going to revolutionize daytime. We'll say that. Anyway, because I really didn't like the being a production manager, there was a guy who was let go in California. He was a stage manager on General Hospital, and he was let go for whatever reasons, and I had found out about it. And I called the director of production services, whom I knew, in California, and said, I understand that blah, 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 blah was let go. And he said, yes. And I said, is that something that I might qualify for? And he said, what? And I said, well, stage managing. And he said, you're interested in something like that? And I said, yeah, because I would really, really like to get my hands involved. You know what I mean? I want to be involved in a production. So, well, I'll let you know. I won't say anything to your bosses. And they were his cohorts on the East Coast. Won't say anything to your bosses. This is between us. I said, yeah. So I went to the stage manager on the show, this guy, Ray Holston, God rest his soul. I said, hey, Ray, I just want to let you know I spoke to this guy in California, and I heard this guy got fired, and I'm interested in being a stage manager in California. He said, what? I'm interested in being a stage manager in California. He yanked me into his office, and he shut the door. They were like on lunch. He said, when did this come about? I said, well, I've always kind of thought about it. He said, I got to tell you something. There's a guy who's working with me right now, okay? His name is Frank Valentini. Frank was the second stage manager with Ray. He said, and I happen to know for a fact that Linda Gottlieb is going to promote him to be a producer. So I said, oh, that's great. He said, I have to ask you a question. Would you like to be a stage manager here? I said, well, why do you say that? He says, because I happen to know for a fact that she really likes you. She loves your energy. She likes the way you handle things. You get everything. She likes you. So I said, well, I don't know. So he says, well, how about if I set up you go talk to her? I said, okay. So he set up a thing, and I went and spoke to her, and she said, I really like what you do. Would you be interested in becoming a stage manager? I'll give you on-the-job training. So I said, can I get back to you like in a couple of days? And yeah. So I had to weigh the odds, because what it meant for me, Alex, was I was going to have to relinquish a staff position at ABC in order to become a freelance stage manager. Stage managers at that point were freelance. They didn't have any staff people like the Sid Andrews that I went to visit years ago. They had all freelance people. And I thought, you're taking a chance, because if they don't like you and they tell you they don't want you, you're done. You can't go back to ABC. You've burned that bridge. You're done. So I spoke with my boss at the time, this very, very great woman. Her name was Harriet Abraham, and I spoke with Harriet and told her that this opportunity has come up for me, and I'm looking for some guidance. And she said, I have to tell you, I think you'd be fabulous at it. I think because knowing your energy and the things that you've done and the way people like you and respect you, I think you'd be really good at it. But you are taking a chance, So I said, okay. Spoke with my wife, and I said, now the money is like you're going from, the crap house to the White House. It's a huge difference in money. I said, this will allow us a lot of different things. So we decided that I was going to take it. And I did. And